I think Evander's legacy will be that he was one of the toughest warriors in the ring who tarnished a great achievement of rising from a light heavyweight, cruiserweight, to a heavyweight champion of the world by overstaying his welcome.
The idea of losing is completely foreign to him, and toward the end of his career, I think served him very poorly.
He's told a number of people, I believe God's plan for me is to finish better than I started, to finish as the undisputed heavyweight champ of the world.
In 1999, Evander Holyfield had two opportunities to reach his goal of unifying the heavyweight titles, but he failed in both attempts against WBC champion Lennox Lewis.
Lennox Lewis, too, he fought his heart out that night. He might have left his last touch of that level of fighting in the ring that night.
As Holyfield continued to box, his ring skills began to fade. In October of 2003, 2 weeks before his 41st birthday, he met James Toney, a former cruiserweight who was making his heavyweight debut.
That's kind of signaled the end of Evander Holyfield as a fighter. He didn't have the same snap on his punches. He didn't have the reflexes to block punches.
I told him, you're getting hit with too many right hands. If you don't get out of the way of those right hands, I'm gonna stop the fight. First punch that Toney threw, bam, a right hand.
I think they've thrown in the towel. Don Turner's thrown in the towel, and it's over.
I think Don Turner did him one of the greatest favors a man could do a fighter by stopping that fight with James Toney. Yet, in Evander's eyes, that was almost a betrayal.
After the Toney fight, I told Evander that my opinion was that the best thing for him to do would be retired, because in my view, he was on top.
Evander is not to be denied. You know, in his mind, he can still be the fighter he was in 1990, and you know, he's not going to let a trainer or an advisor or somebody in his camp stand between that.
Holyfield hired a new trainer, and 13 months later he met journeyman Larry Donald, who pounded him as easily as he would the heavy bag, dealing the former champion more than 3 punches for every 1 received. Holyfield was placed on medical suspension by the New York State Athletic Commission and barred from fighting in the United States.
You could see him thinking about punching, but the thought wasn't being delivered from his mind to his hands. If we allowed him to continue fighting, he was going to be one of these guys that was going to suffer from pugilistic dementia. And if we didn't protect him, he didn't want to protect himself.
This was just another case of someone doubting him and someone disrespecting him. And when these episodes occur, it's Evander's style to say, well, I'm going to prove everyone wrong.
Holyfield pressed to be allowed back into the ring. After passing a series of medical tests, the national suspension was changed to a ban in the state of New York. In the summer of 2006, Holyfield, despite just 2 wins in his last 9 fights, got a license to fight in Texas. At 43, he refused to retire.
He still remembers the lesson his mother taught him and his promise to her to finish on top.
When people say, oh, you're too old, you ain't got no youth, this. I could put 2 Corinthians 5:7. I walk by faith, not by sight. Meaning that if I walk by sight, it'll make me give up. But faith is evidence of things that are not seen, because the word of God said, I can be the heavyweight champion of the world again.
It's not gonna happen. You're slurring a little now. Step away. Have respect and dignity for yourself. Don't damage yourself any more than what you have.
He doesn't know when to quit. He doesn't even understand what the word quit means. So all of these competitive juices that made him great now make him potentially a tragic figure.
He still has a goal. People want him to live in the past, but he still has a future. He's not
60 years old. He's not ready to retire. You know, God has given him strength, courage, knowledge, and that's what he's using to continue his life.
However his career ends, Evander Holyfield has established himself as a highly skilled fighter who displayed courage, perseverance, and grace in a sport in search of those attributes.
What kind of career would it have been if nothing ever happened to me and everything was just dandy like that? Who can you really inspire?
Can you think of a fighter who was more underappreciated and underestimated than Evander Holyfield? I mean, Holyfield did what all of us thought was impossible. He became heavyweight champion. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times.
His story is a great story. It's a wonderful story. And it's a story that any kid who is of lesser means, but who has a dream, should hear and understand that they too can live their dream if they have the same kind of character, attitude, and perseverance that Evander Holyfield had.